Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another live edition of the Highbury Squad. It is the week where we are taking a trip down memory lane, and we have another treat for you this evening. Let's roll. Joining me once again this evening is my podcast sister from another mister, PG Tips, aka the daughter of Sir Kelvin Lewis. Welcome to the show.
Hello.
How you doing?
Well, first of all, I'm really good. I would just like to say a very quick thank you to everybody for last night. Actually, I'll do it later. Go on.
Yeah, okay, because
later.
We have another special guest in the house. Maybe another sir here. He sounds like he should be a sir. He also sounds like he could be an author of a great book, maybe an Arsenal book. He certainly has phenomenal stories to tell from 1971. Mr. Peter Lewis, thank you for joining us this evening. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me on.
I love this. I mean, you know, in a week where we were just having a conversation, you guys, before we came on air, in a week where it's Arsenal's biggest game in years. For me, it's the biggest game since the Champions League final against Barcelona. It's also the 50th anniversary of the 70 double winners, and it's the beginning of a history for Arsenal Football Club. And, you know, we want to be positive and send happy vibes out there this week. Arsenal Football Club, no matter where we are in the Premier League right now, we're still a big club. And it's because of moments like 71 that spearheaded a lot, Amanda, that people need to separate the current form in the Premier League with being a great club. And having your dad last night and people like Peter on tonight who have seen it, the good, the bad and the ugly. It's just a beautiful thing. And I love shows like this.
Yeah, it's so nice. And I mean, I honestly, going back to last night's show, the amount of messages and tweets and YouTube comments and private DMs and everything I've had about my dad. Thank you so much, everybody. You genuinely enjoyed it.
Definitely.
I've had to listen to my dad for 50 years, and it honestly, I'm totally
51,
51, nearly 52. I'm 52 in July. To hit, and I didn't know some of those stories. I generally didn't know about the car. There's so many things, and I sent the YouTube. I sent the Highbury Squad to my brother, who never watches it. He's not interested, and he said I didn't know half those stories either. So
it's great.
It's really important for people like my dad, Peter, and the older generation to educate the younger generation. Because, to be fair, and I'll say this hands on heart, I never really spoke about 70, 71. I was 2 years old. My main thing was more 79 when we beat United. That's when I started to really, really be into it. I did go when I was 4, as Dad said last night, over the turnstile. But when you think back, when I was listening to my dad and watching the photographs, and obviously Jill was tweeting so much yesterday about all the pictures, and now we're going to hear Peter's story. Actually, doing the double must have been phenomenal. I only go on Anfield 89 because I was there. But winning it at White Hart Lane and then beating Liverpool on the Saturday, well, we're going to hear from Peter.
Let's go back. I want to take Peter, and you're right, PG, but I want to take Peter back. By the way, everyone, Peter may be an older fan, but let me tell you, his background, he looks like a legit podcaster, and he's wearing the sweater as well. Peter, take us back to the very beginning. Why Arsenal? What happened? How did it start?
Okay, well, firstly, about the shirt that I put on tonight is because I bought it probably, well, you can see it's a Puma time. So I think I must have bought it about 9-10 years ago when Arsenal first signed the Puma. And I've worn it every single home match since. And I'm not quite sure whether it's lucky or not, but I just felt
it's time to change your shirt. I'm just saying.
Well, it's obviously it's not been out of the cupboard for a year, you see, for obvious reasons, you see. So I know it's clean. It might be a bit mothballed, but it's clean.
I love it. Peter, tell us how it all started, your love affair with the Arsenal.
Okay, so it started. Actually, it started really in 1962. I need to go back a little bit further than that. I mean, I was born in 1955, And my mum and dad, they were sort of moderate football fans. They weren't sort of massive football fans, but my dad had a hankering for Spurs. And they were Spurs fans, I think. I only discovered this a bit later on. I'm sure I became an Arsenal supporter just to spite them. But anyway, the fact was I learned later on that the very first match I ever attended was I was 3 months old and I was a baby in arms. And my dad had tickets to see Tottenham play Wolves. Now, in the mid-50s, they were two very, very big teams. It's hard to believe now, but even Wolves were a big team. And surprisingly, Tottenham were a big team as well. But they took me, a baby in arms, to see Tottenham Wolves. Not that I saw the game. I slept through the whole game, apparently. Anyway, that didn't ruin me for life, but something I must have realised that this is not for me. Anyway, in 1962, we moved from a rather dilapidated house in Hackney to somewhere a few miles away, and we moved into a new block of flats. And there was a kid who moved into this new block of flats. I won't name him just in case he's watching tonight, and he may think, was that me? But anyway, we were two little kids. I was about 6 or 7 years old, I think. And we used to run up and down the landing, and we bumped into each other. And he was about a year older than me. And he said to me, "Hello." This is the first word. He said, "Who do you support?" And I didn't really know what he was talking about. I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Which football team do you support?" And I said, I really remember this because I've told the story a few times. "Why? Who do you support?" And he said, "Arsenal." And I said, "So do I." And I only said it because I really wanted to make a friend. I just moved into this new block.
Oh, that's so cute.
I had no friends. I was at 62, so there you go. So I was about 6 years old. And so we became friends because I was an Arsenal supporter. And we used to kick around, outside the block of flats. We used to play football a little bit. And then one day, his dad said to me, "Would you like to come with us to Arsenal?" I said, "Oh, I'd love that." And I always remember the first game I went to see was 23rd of March, 1963. It was Arsenal versus Blackburn.
Wow.
I've actually got the programme in one of my boxes. I keep everything. And Arsenal beat Blackburn 3-1. And the only thing I can't remember anything about the game except that their goalkeeper was a guy called Fred Else. And there was a supporter, and Fred Else made a couple of saves. And someone said, every time he made a save, someone shouted out, "Oh, flipping Else." He kept saying that.
That's so good.
I think it was Else, he said. Anyway, I think it was flipping as well as what he said. Anyway, that's all I can remember of the game. Anyway, that was my first game in 1963. And because my mum and dad, they didn't have much money, and we never used to go to football much, but I used to go, with my friends, and I used to get taken along. I had some pocket money, and it only cost £4, I think, to get in there then, which was still a lot of money, but at least it was better than spending money on the sort of stuff that kids would spend today. And I carried on watching Arsenal for a number of years, and obviously they were only team for me.
Peter, can I just ask you something? We'd like to know, where did you stand or sit?
Oh, we used to stand on the west enclosures. At the Highbury,
West Lower, yeah.
West Lower, there was a standing enclosure because we couldn't afford seats or anything like that. No. We used to stand in the west enclosure.
So you were opposite where the dugout was.
Opposite the dugout, and used to pay. I remember you used to have to pay £1 or something to get into the western enclosure, but it was a bit safer because the North Bank was obviously full of standing. And I was never the tallest of boys. I used to sort of, most of the games. I think the odd time I went to the North Bank on Clock End when I was very young, I used to see most games through people's arms and things like that. I couldn't see the game. So, but the west enclosure, at least I could see the game. And that's where I used to stand. And later on, I became a North Banker, and for many years,
that's where I was. Yeah,
probably from the late 70s until we left in 2006. I always used to go. I was a North Banker. That's where I was.
With the North Bank, with the North Bank, with the North Bank, Highbury.
With the East End, with the East End, Highbury. Oh, I missed that.
The clock in.
Yeah. I was opposite you when I finally went.
There you go. Yeah. So obviously I waited till I was a bit tall enough and a bit brave enough to stand on the North Bank because, if you remember, they had crash barriers, there was a bit of swaying and stuff like that as well. Yeah. And so I carried on doing it. I remember actually one experience at the North Bank was, I think it was Arsenal playing Nottingham Forest. And in the late 70s, flares were quite a thing. People used to wear flares. I was sort of 14 or 15, anyway.
Was Cloughie manager then, Peter?
Right?
Was Cloughie manager then?
I can't remember. I'm thinking about it. Must have been in my early 20s if it was late 70s.
Late 70s, it would have been Cloughie, I think. Yeah.
1978. And what I do remember, the real thing about this story is that one day Arsenal scored a goal and everyone went, everyone up in the air. And all of a sudden, about a minute later, I thought, I feel quite hot. And I looked, and in my flares, someone had been smoking a cigarette on the North Bank.
Oh,
cigarette went up in the air, and it landed in my turn-ups. And it caught my jeans on fire. So there I was standing on the North Bank. Arsenal was on fire, and so was I.
Oh my goodness, that's great stuff. So let's go go on, carry on.
I've come to spontaneous combustion all in one go there.
It's like watching Arsenal sometimes. We feel like that, don't we, at the moment?
Literally these days. So let's get to 71. We asked Kelvin this yesterday too. Like when you were going into the 71 season, were you feeling confident? Like how comparable was the team to, because obviously for the younger listeners too, you're not talking about City and Chelsea and those types of teams. There was Wolves, there was other sides, Leeds. Talk us through that a little bit as you're going into that season, Peter, and what the expectations were.
Well, I think the first thing is to set up that season. You have to remember that Arsenal hadn't won the league for 16 or 17 years. And we just had 2 League Cup finals where we lost to Leeds United and Swindon. Now I was at the Swindon game. I still have palpitations now about the Swindon game in '69. That was my first cup final I've been to, and that was probably the most disappointing I've ever been. After all these years, it's still the most disappointing because I thought I was going to see my first trophy. Anyway, the year later we got to 1970, and everyone knows the story about the European Fairs Cup. I was there again on the Western Closure. And I was there watching the game, and I was there, and that still remains. And my kids, and I'll tell you about my kids in a bit, that remains still my greatest ever Arsenal experience because the emotion, the noise, the passion, I don't think I've ever seen anything that's come close to it ever since. And I know people say, "Oh, you're lucky, you're old. You were there," and I said, "Well, I'm not that lucky because I'm old, but nevertheless, it was still the most exciting thing I've ever seen in my life." And the thing was, what I knew was that it was almost like a dam had been burst, and the team felt the dam had been burst as well. And you just knew that actually this team was on the verge of doing something. So as we came into the 1970-71 season, it was the first time I was still a young lad really, but the first time in my 6 or 7 years of going, the first time fans stopped sort of complaining and moaning and started cheering the team and really, they felt the passion. We came into the first game. I think the first game in the league, we were away to Everton. I think it was. That was a game that Charlie George broke his ankle or broke his leg.
Peter, at the time, for everyone to understand, Charlie was the star of the team, right? Would you agree? Or would you say Frank?
Charlie was the star. Not only was he a star, he was a bit of a hero. Hero for me. Because, like me, I was an Islington schoolboy. At that time, I went to school in 66, at a school in Islington. So at that time, I was an Islington schoolboy, different school to Charlie. But Charlie was also, had been an Islington schoolboy. And he was my hero. And he was Charlie, born is the king of Highbury. Yeah, everyone used to sing that song. So he was the great young hope, the boy from Islington.
Amazing.
And of course, he was a big star, during the Fairs Cup win as well. So we came into the season for Charlie to break his ankle in that first game was potentially a bitter blow. But somehow we managed to get out with a draw in that first game. And you knew that there was something about the team that would fight through adversity. despite something like that as well.
Nice. So as the season's progressing, things are moving, shifting, but then we get to like, you know, the business end, as they say, and there's a potential double on when did that do you remember when that conversation started? Was it even a conversation now? Because in football, in modern day football, those conversations start so prematurely. Oh, can they go unbeaten? Oh, can they do this and do that?
I know exactly when. It was after the Arsenal played away to Manchester City in the FA Cup. I think it might have been a 5th round tie, something like that. And Arsenal beat them 2-1, and Charlie scored a fantastic goal, half the length of the pitch he dribbled and scored. It was a complete mud patch. You know, it really was a terrific goal. And so all of a sudden, people were thinking, we could win this, because I don't think we were ever really favourites to win the league, because Leeds United were on top. They were you know, a little bit ahead of us all the time. So we never looked like we were going to catch Leeds United. But in the FA Cup, after winning that 5th round tie against City, Arsenal fans started saying, do you know what? We could win this, and we could possibly win the FA Cup. And I don't think it was until, must have been, late February.
You know, Peter shared some pictures with us too, and I just wanted to put this one up of him with Charlie George, the legend, as well. And we'll get to some of these other bits and bobs, but the final, the FA Cup and stuff like that. Look at this ticket. But before we do that, before we do that, Peter, tell everyone how you actually got into the game at White Hart Lane. It's great.
Well, obviously I was a schoolboy, and so my younger brothers, got 2 younger brothers, and we were schoolboys, and we said, why don't we try and get to the game after school? Mum and Dad, they weren't overly happy, but they knew they'd have a job and a half stopping us. So I think we almost have leapt out of school fairly quickly, and we arranged to meet. One of my brothers went to a different school. We arranged to meet, and basically we got the bus. It was the 253 bus, used to come down through Stamford Hill into Finsbury Park, and we got off there, and it was obviously we sensed there were a lot of people around, more than a normal game. But what happened from 253, we ended up to get a tube up to Tottenham. You see, so we got the 253 down to Finsbury Park, and then we managed to work our way up to Tottenham. I'm not sure how we actually. To be honest, I can't even remember how we got there, but we did manage to get there. It was through public transport. No one gave us a lift, and we got to the ground. And I've been to Spurs games before. In those days, we used to pay cash on the door, and often I'd go when Arsenal were away. I'd go to watch Tottenham on the alternative Saturday. We got there, and it was so crowded. It was busy. We just couldn't work out. We didn't have tickets. We just thought, well, we're never going to get in here. And we were just outside the ground, and we were just, as we walked past, there was a gate to the stadium, and someone had opened it. I think they were taking in some deliveries or something like that. And being the oldest of the 3 brothers, I shouted, any chance of letting us in? And the guy said, no chance there. No chance, mate. So as he came in, he left the gate ajar, because obviously he was going to get some more deliveries in. And I said, hang on a minute. And I opened the door, and it was still open. And
no way.
In the stadium. And the guy saw us. He said, what are you doing in here? I said, well, it was just open. We thought we'd get in. Oh, please, let us stay. Please. And the guy, I could see he was flustered because he had to get more deliveries. He said, hang on, I'll see you in a minute. Wait there a minute. In the meantime, we dashed in and gone. And I don't know really what happened. He was so incompetent. And that was it. And so we got in. And there we were in the stadium. We had no idea where we were because we were downstairs. And we worked our way up. And we think, where are the Arsenal supporters going to be? Little knowing that they're all round the place there by then. And we managed to work our way up into one of the areas, onto the stairways. And we got in eventually in the Park Lane Inn, which is obviously that's where the normal place where the away supporters might go. And we got in there, and basically that was it. That's the story. So basically, thanks to an incompetent doorman, some urgent deliveries, and stupidly leaving the gate open, that's how we got into White Hart Lane.
Did anyone else sneak in with you apart from your brothers?
I did, because he probably came back into, because it's only because we were actually there. I noticed he'd left he pushed the door and hadn't locked it. so no one else may have noticed it was now locked on.
Oh,
By
what a brilliant story.
By the time he came back, and that was it. Yeah.
Wow. And so you get into the game. Did you end up sitting near Arsenal fans? Were you that lucky,
not sitting, standing?
Not sitting. No one sat.
Of course, yeah, I meant that.
Yeah.
So then the game goes on, and how are you feeling? Like during the game, are you feeling lucky? Are you feeling? What are you? You must be feeling lucky getting in for free and
we were very excited. We were very excited that we got in, and I think for half an hour we just chuckled to ourselves how lucky we were.
So
no one's going to throw us out because anyway, we were there.
Yeah. So you get to this moment, Peter, and the incredible Ray Kennedy moment. What happened? Like, talk us through it. Talk us through that winning goal and what you guys did. And
well, I mean, obviously, it's very hard to see what's going on because we weren't right immediately behind the goal there. So I think we must have been at the other end. But anyway, the fact was that the goal went in, and it was so late. Everyone was just either looking at their watches and they were just saying, come on, like that. And all of a sudden, this goal went in, and this, I can remember this huge shoving and just being, as the whole stadium sort of collapsed down on top of us. As we had to
swell.
Exactly, yeah. And I think by the time we managed to sort of get ourselves standing in the right position, to see the rest of the game, I think must have been about 30 seconds or a second, before the final whistle was gone. I can't even remember if they actually kicked off again because I don't recall seeing the kick-off, after the goal as well. But all I remember was, everyone was just sort of picking themselves up from pieces. It's such a long time ago.
Yeah. How I'm trying to look at the program here. I can't see if the price was 5p for the program. Do you remember how much tickets were back then, Peter, for a game?
I remember. Well, I remember. I think it was about 4 shillings. I think it was, or something like that. So, which was what?
So like 20p.
Yeah, something like that. And that was obviously without the enclosure. That was obviously standing as well. I mean, being at that stage when I was 71, I don't think I'd sort of quite migrated to the North Bank. So I was on the enclosure side, I think. So
right.
Still a little bit young. Yeah.
Okay, so we beat Tottenham, and then it comes to, and you sent me a really cool picture. This is actually your program from 71 from the FA Cup final.
That's it. Yep, that's it.
Look at this. This is 10p. The FA Cup program was 10p, PG.
And was that is that Bob Wilson in goal?
Yes, that's Bob right there.
Look at that program.
And look at this Football Association Cup final, Arsenal v Liverpool. I mean, I love it. It's just amazing.
Saturday, 3 p.m. How it should be.
Yeah, 10 pence. Talk us through getting to go to a Wembley Cup final, and let alone a cup final, but the significance of this being an Arsenal fan, Peter.
Well, because I've been to the League Cup final a couple of years before. So the way I got the ticket was basically in those days. Programs used to have this little voucher in them as well, and if Arsenal wanted to get to a final, you'd cut all the vouchers out and you'd put them and stick them onto this inserted sheet in the program, and then send it off to the club. And I had 20 of the 21 home matches I'd been to had their programs, so I had all the programs. So you cut out these little vouchers inside the programs, and the one I was missing was Arsenal Burnley. And the reason I missed that was because I had an exam the next day at school, and my mum just simply wouldn't let me go to the football. That's the only home game I missed all season. So I was desperate to try and get the Burnley programme so I could get the voucher, and a little bit of barging around. Most of the kids, the Arsenal supporters in my school, they probably didn't have these programmes, but I managed to find one with the voucher still in it that hadn't been cut out. So I used it. So I had all 21 vouchers. So I managed to get send it off, and fortunately I managed to get a ticket for the final. That ticket that you saw there.
Yeah, so look at this ticket, PG, £1 for the FA Cup final. You were advised to take up your position by 2:30 p.m. Final time. Look at that. Yeah, the AFC stamp. Yeah,
that's the Arsenal stamp on it as well.
I love the way someone's actually signed it, like officially. Look.
There's
Under
the
the
chairman of Wembley Stadium Limited, PG.
That's
Look
the
at
old
that.
stadium. Yeah.
Yeah, Turnstile H, entrance 54. Man, that's
May
Peter.
the 8th. I wasn't
This
even
is
2.
amazing.
God.
I was not born yet. I was 2. Oh, my mum was pregnant with me. I was born in the September of 71. Peter, you got your ticket. You're going through the turnstiles at Wembley. My goodness.
No, well, I went with a friend who also managed to get a ticket as well, because obviously they were standing tickets, so obviously we could go and stand together as well. And we used to get the train, and I remember as we went past Dollis Hill on the tube line, and you could see sort of Wembley Stadium. Didn't have the arch in those days, but you could see Wembley Stadium. You could see the Twin Towers as well, and so we knew that we were almost there. And we got off. Obviously, enjoyed the walk up to the stadium. We were so early when we got there, and it was a blazing hot day. And here's something for all you viewers. It was a blazing hot day. It reached 80 degrees in old money Fahrenheit that day as well. And we went up, and I was wearing a woolen scarf that my mum had knitted me. I'm going to wear it in a minute and show everyone.
Oh, you've got it, because
so
I've got the picture. Okay, let's.
I'm about to show it to you.
Okay, wait. Before you do that, Peter, someone said, "Is the goalkeeper Jeff Barnett?" I thought it was Wilson, but maybe we could conquer that one at some point.
Jeff Barnett played in 1972 final against Leeds after Bob Wilson had fractured his collarbone, so that wouldn't have been Jeff Barnett.
Okay, now let's bring out the treasure chest of happiness, because you guys, listen, I mean, Arsenal Football Club, the history, having these conversations with fans, these moments, 71 being such a pivotal year. I can't believe you still have this scarf. Let's go. Let's show everybody.
Okay, so this is the scarf that my mum knitted. It's yellow and blue, because remember, Arsenal played in yellow and blue that final. So she knitted it in the weeks leading up to the final. And as you can see,
saw the names.
And look.
Oh my God, that's fantastic.
You got
so you see all the names there, and you see
fantastic, Peter.
You see Ball in the middle there, and Alan Ball signed for Arsenal after the final. And what happened was we had a yellow space at the middle of the back, which she didn't fill in, because it would have been at the back of my neck. So she didn't actually stitch it on. And after Arsenal signed Alan Ball, I asked her, could you put Ball in as well? And which she did. And the other thing to notice is if you look at the names, that half of them from the top, they're upside down.
They are.
That's because when I wear it, you see all the names the right way round.
What a genius your mum.
That is fantastic to think of that.
I mean, look at it, PG. Look.
I love it. I want one. My dad would want one of those, wouldn't he?
It's not very long, actually. I mean, I realize remember, I've grown a little bit since then.
When you wore it to Wembley, did anyone ask you where you got it?
I was asked a few times. I said, you have to have a word with my mum.
Peter, look at this comment from one of our regular listeners, the Overlord of Procrastination. Great name, by the way. We always say that. The scarf brought a tear to my eye. And Matty K, a lot of our regular listeners, that scarf brought a tear. Where is he? Your mum's amazing. Newman, always thinking about business. You'd get a fortune for that on eBay. But you got a lot of wows and awesomes and wows here from our listeners. It truly is so special. Bernadette as well. People calling you a fan legend. Keep going. I mean, so your mum knitted that for you specifically for the final?
Yeah, exactly. Because until we knew actually what colour Arsenal were playing, she didn't know which colour to do it in. I said they're going to be in blue, yellow, and blue, and we only knew that a week or two before. So she spent a whole week stitching the players' names on. She said, "What players should I use?" So I told her the players' names, obviously, and I know Marinello was in there. Peter Marinello was in there, so he was in the squad at the time as well. Yeah, so she spent a week stitching that off for me to wear on the day. So I wore this. As I say, it reached 80 degrees Fahrenheit, and I never took it off. So you can imagine how I felt. This thing wrapped round.
I'll tell you, Peter, you probably could sell that for a lot of money. That looks fantastic. No, but you could, because
it's amazing.
All us younger ones, and even the younger ones in the chat.
I would want that.
I mean, even thinking about that, I'd love that for Anfield if anyone wants to do it for me.
It's so special and also just to show you too how we used to make stuff back in the day. Like 2 weeks before, you get you kind of know the players who's playing that the fact we're playing in blue and yellow, which, by the way, I mean, Amanda and I, Peter, talk about it all the time. We just want to play with yellow shirts away and blue shorts, and that's it. We don't want any of this blue everywhere and salmon and pink. No. But it's amazing. And your mum, like doing that for you, just what a wonderful memory to have. It's just fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, she died a few years ago, but 2 or 3 years ago, actually 3 years ago. And I was able to get a ticket to go with her to Wembley for the one of the Arsenal Wembley matches, one of the FA Cup semi-finals. So I managed to get a ticket. So we were all able to go together. I got a picture with her, me and my brothers and my kids as well, all at Wembley the same day. You know, we were able to go together for that match. So
sorry, Peter, go on.
Sorry. Also, listeners are asking me to put the picture of the scarf back up. So go on, Peter. I'll just put this back up as you're talking. Go on.
Okay, right. So she managed to get to see Arsenal win an FA Cup as a semi-final. I can't remember. Was it Reading? Must be Reading. I think we managed to get tickets for that one as well.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So Peter, are all your children Arsenal supporters?
Okay. So I've got a son and a daughter. They're both in their 30s. They are Arsenal supporters. They are Arsenal season ticket holders. We all sit together, along with my younger brother, and with 4 of us, we have 4 seats in a row, sitting at the North Bank end at the Emirates together.
At the Emirates. So you're near me. And are you upper or lower tier?
Not lower tier.
I'll be able to wave to you when we go back, Peter. I'll come and join you all for a drink.
That would be lovely. So I want to just switch back because there are some listeners asking about the club back then, and I want to get to that question. We've got about 15 minutes left here on the show tonight. We want to get everyone out so they can watch the Champions League as well. But I'm telling you, 1971 double more exciting than this Champions League semi-final because we're not in it as well. So Peter, there's scenes like this. So you're at the game, right? And of course, there are iconic moments in the game. And we're playing the mighty, mighty Liverpool. But we managed to make it happen. Talk us through the game a little bit, the moments, how you were feeling, and just being there to witness this. Like, it's amazing.
Okay, so I was standing at the end where Charlie scored the winner. And obviously that's where all the Arsenal fans were. And obviously you can see on my ticket which block I was in. But all I remember, apart from feeling very hot, was that actually the game was very exciting. Arsenal had a number of chances. I mean, I remember Geordie Armstrong had a fantastic game. He was everywhere. I mean, how he kept going over it was 120 minutes. How he kept going, I have no idea. He was brilliant. But the whole team actually played well. But when I think we got to extra time, it was 0-0, and we were all a bit nervous. And I remember then obviously Steve Highway scored a goal for Liverpool. And because it was in front of us, we could see very clearly. I could see this gap between Bob Wilson and the goal, and we knew that Bob had left this bit of a gap as well. But no one actually moaned or criticised Bob Wilson, because in those days, it wasn't toxic like you can get at games today. Everyone just kept cheering, and obviously it carried on. And then we got to just before halfway through extra time, and then that incredible goal that we now know as Eddie Kelly. Everyone, let me tell you, everyone in the ground assumed George Graham scored that goal. I mean, it's been discussed many times, but everyone in the ground, no one I know, came away from Wembley that day thinking that Eddie Kelly had scored that goal. Because in those days, you didn't have big scoreboards and things like that. So, and I don't think you had slow motion to work it out. It was only later on that some worked it out. It was Eddie's goal. But do you know what? I'm absolutely certain every Arsenal fan had faith that we were going to get the winner, because that goal, everyone, that feeling when you think, oh God, we've lost this, and suddenly you get that lifeline and that surge of enthusiasm that happens in games. There you go. And I was there that day as well. I went to Arsenal for for the parade.
You were there for the parade as well?
Yeah, can't you see me just to the lower left?
Yeah, I can see you.
I've been to all the parades since, as well. That's it. Yeah,
I love that top. I love that top. I'm going to get one of those one day.
So you're there. The goal goes in. What are you doing when you leave Wembley Stadium? Are you guys getting absolutely rat-arsed? What's happening?
Not me. I remember how old I was. I was 15. Yeah.
Okay, so you weren't.
No. But I mean, obviously, when Charlie's goal went in, and it was we were right behind it. I saw it right. Yeah, I can still remember it now. Obviously, at Wembley, you're a long way behind the goals in those days as well. But I could still see the ball coming through in the goal, and everyone went mad. It was quite late in the day, and then I forgot how hot I was as well. And obviously, it was very exciting, and we were just singing songs, and we just loved all the songs, and came out the grounds, and it was great. Yeah,
great stuff. This was a picture actually Jill posted as well. This was the 25th anniversary.
Wow.
This picture here is the 25th anniversary of the 71 double winning team. So now we're celebrating 50 years of it as well. And I put this on last night too, Peter, because you remember CFAX. Do you remember after every game that you couldn't go to, trying to get the scores on CFAX as well? I think PG has a mug from the Anfield 89 CFAX as well. And of course, Frank, what a man, what a player. I mean, just wonderful, wonderful memories. And you mentioned Geordie Armstrong, and I put some pictures up of him as well. What a legend. And then you get to meet the legend himself who scored the winning goal. I mean, you got to Charlie George's iconic moment laying on the floor. It's one of Arsenal's most iconic moments in history. How did that feel to meet him years later?
It was great because obviously I'd never met him when he was playing playing for Arsenal at the time. But what actually happened was Arsenal did club tours, and my kids bought a club tour with a Legends club tour for the three of us as well. And they let me know what they didn't tell me who the legend was until we got there. And they said, we know you wanted it to be Charlie George, so we made sure we booked the one with Charlie George on it. So I was thrilled to meet Charlie. And so I did actually manage to meet him again, I think in the 2011 when we had the 40th anniversary of the double period. So if you remember this fantastic box.
Yeah. Okay. So I think I might have. You sent me that picture. Let's see. I got it somewhere.
Look at that.
I'm pretty sure did. You send me that one? Maybe.
No,
let's see.
So this is a box.
Yeah. Okay.
The box set with book and a video of the double year, and you can see it's signed by Bob Wilson, Charlie George, Eddie Kelly, and John Radford.
Amazing.
Peter, move it slightly left. No, right then. No, left. That's it. We can all see. Oh, look at that. That's fantastic.
Brilliant.
What is it? A picture?
Yeah. So it's actually a box set. It's the 40th anniversary box set.
Oh, how fabulous.
And that Arsenal produced. And in the box set is a video of basically the Arsenal double winners.
Oh, my dad would have loved this. Yeah.
Arsenal double winners. And there's a book, 71 Guns.
Love it.
It's so interesting, isn't it? For kids, I mean, they all think we're old on here, Peter, with all the history we go on about in the 70s and the 80s, early 90s. It's just fantastic. We need more people like you on our podcast because I love it, PG. I'm fascinated that it's not, I don't know any of this, so it's just amazing. It's so lovely having you on, Peter.
Yeah. Sorry, a fan asked me to put this picture up again. And so I've done that for them as well. They can't get enough of these. They can't get enough of these pictures, especially stuff like this. You just.
That picture of the program, the one on the left-hand side, that's in those days you used to be the community song singing. So a guy used to come out and everyone used to sing songs and things like that. And that was a song sheet. So basically the program in there said, so there were various songs that for all the fans to join in together in a communal experience as well.
Do you remember half-time, Peter, at Highbury? They used to bring the band out, the steel band, didn't they?
I can remember the band. I can remember Colonel Morgan, who used to be the singer. the singer.
Can you imagine nowadays? God.
Well, they tried to bring that back with the modern with the shaman. I was there that night at Highbury. Oh my God, it was so embarrassing when they tried to go all sexy Monday Night Football like American style, and it just didn't work, did it?
No.
Sorry, Peter, go on.
The band and the leader used to sort of toss the pole up in the air and catch it, and everyone used to go, "Whoa!" I can only remember once him dropping it as well. Yeah.
Well, look, we want to get you out on this. I mean, phenomenal stories. And I can't begin to tell you how much we appreciate you coming on the show tonight. It's just really, Amanda and I, and Kevin, unfortunately, is working tonight and he couldn't be here, but he'll listen to the show. And we just love our series, A Trip Down Memory Lane. It's, like I said at the top of the show, a reminder of our club and what we've done and where we've come from. And it's a bit difficult now in the Premier League, Peter. It's not been an easy season. It hasn't been easy for the last few years. Hopefully on Thursday, we will make it to a European final. So give us, we'll get you out on this one. Give us your assessment of where you think the club is at, the owners, Arteta. What are your thoughts, having supported the Arsenal for all your life?
I know there's huge amounts of discord with Arsenal. I mean, I suspect that if Arsenal had been very successful, then no one would have been too bothered about the owners as well. And it's very convenient just to blame them. Mm-hmm. I don't think Arsenal fans have realised actually just how much Arsenal have actually spent. But I think Arsenal are suffering and continue to suffer from 2 or 3 major issues that have happened. Firstly, when they moved to the Emirates Stadium was a time where the football world's changed. Suddenly teams like Chelsea suddenly became very wealthy for money that they didn't earn, which wasn't foreseen. So Arsenal were trying to sort of be competitive in the big world, and obviously they suffered because at the time when they moved to the new stadium, they had to make severe cuts, and at the same time, new Johnnies like Chelsea came along with this huge amount of money to spend, and Arsenal never quite recovered from that. I think it took many years for Arsenal to recover, and they've never really fully managed to regain that. As for Kroenke, well, I had an argument with a friend the other day about this, who just said all the owners are greedy, and I said, well, it's business, and in reality, it is business. It's the modern economy where Arsenal were available for sale. You could criticise the original owners of Arsenal for selling out to someone who actually proved to be not the ideal choice for us supporters, but it's business. You're talking about £1 billion business as well. And I know some people don't like Kroenke because of his, maybe his political affiliations, or maybe because it seems that other clubs he's been associated with haven't done well. But when it comes down to Arsenal, still spent some big money on a lot of players. They bought Pepe for 70-odd million. Party, they put Lacazette and Aubameyang for 50 million plus each. Arsenal have spent money, but the reality is that we've suffered really as the management after Arsene Wenger went in, and in these last few years, you could see actually Arsenal has struggled for that transition period from the great era to the next era. We've got to be hopeful it's going to come, because I have faith we have some very good players in our team, but we need a bit more. We need an owner who's prepared to back, whether it's Arteta or whoever, to make that next step.
Good stuff, Peter. And, what we've been trying to do this week is be positive, have great vibes as we go into a European semi-final that is so important, and to share the stories of 71. It's such an important anniversary, 50 years of our double winning team, some legendary players who have been part of that and the history. And Amanda, for us this week, what we wanted to do until we get to Thursday for that big game is just really remind people of Arsenal Football Club and why we are a great club. We may be a poor Premier League team right now, but we are still a great club. And I think sensible fans still recognise that. I
just feel that this is so important. It really is, because you're right. we're a crap team at the moment but we're a great club, and it is a complete transition period. Peter, do you support Arteta? Do you think he's the right man?
Well, whether it's, the judgment is still to be there. I mean, I of course I would support him. I'm not a booer. I'm not a complainer. I don't go on any marches. I don't openly criticise any games at all, because they need our support. They don't need any criticism. But whilst he's our Arsenal manager, 100% support him. I mean, I think he's got a lot of potential. He just needs the experience.
Yeah.
All right. So what do you think about, we'll get you out, seeing as we have you here, Mr. Peter Lewis, 1971 witness of the double winning team. Legends. You were there, man. You were there at White Hart Lane. I actually was talking to my partner and I was telling her about the show this week. And she literally looked at me. She said, hold on a second. Arsenal won the league at White Hart Lane twice.
71.
I was like, yes.
71,
Clearly, I haven't taught you the history correctly. But people forget that the Invincibles weren't the first, So are you hopeful that we'll get to the Europa League final, Peter?
You know what? I think if Arsenal turn up with their A game, then Arsenal will definitely not only get to the final, I think they're capable and will beat Manchester United. The issue has always been that Arsenal don't turn up with their A game enough. It's the inconsistency. I think Arsenal players are good enough. They're definitely good enough. They just need to turn up with their A game and maybe enjoy a little bit of luck, which sometimes they don't. But if they're good enough, they won't need it.
Yep. Okay, very cool. Richard, I will check that picture out. Richard has sent us an autograph shirt from 71. We will share it on tomorrow night's show because we have a special guest tomorrow night joining us to talk about how his historic moment with the Arsenal, Amanda, compares to 71. Let everyone know who is on tomorrow night, because I think Peter will enjoy this too.
Yes, fingers crossed and it all works out well. We have Alan Smudger-Smith coming on tomorrow night. He will be on from around 8:30. I don't know what time we're starting, but I think it's 8:00. He's going to come on and talk about how his feelings of joining the club and the history behind it, and obviously Copenhagen, Anfield and everything else. But we'll mainly be talking about that and obviously previewing Villarreal because we play them the night later. We're giving ourselves off one night off on Thursday night talking about 71. But then Friday night, we have a really special guest. We're not announcing that yet.
It's the best way to end this week, Peter. And I think people like Peter and all of our listeners will enjoy it. There's no better person to end the week than the way we're doing it. And so, yeah, it's going to be great. And to hear Smudger's thoughts on comparing 71 PG with Copenhagen and 89, it's going to be great, isn't it? It's a good friend of the show. Peter, what do you want everyone to know before you leave this fine evening?
Well, firstly, if you're a Gooner, then you support the team. You don't necessarily need to enjoy supporting the owners, but the fact is you support the team, give them everything you've got. Let's get rid of some of the toxicity that goes on at some of our games. When we all get back in that stadium, when we're all together supporting the team, just forget what's happened over the last year or two. Just give it all to our team because we need them to do it for us.
Yeah.
PG, I'm not going to even add anything to that.
No, we're not.
All I'm going to say is thank Peter. And
we are.
I tell you, you're ready for your own podcast with that background. I love it. Brilliant.
You've been brilliant, Peter. Thanks so much for joining us. We've loved it. You must come back again. We might do a round table with my dad, you, and a couple of oldies.
That'd be great.
Honestly, it's going down so well. People are learning so much and realising that football started before the Premier League, weirdly. Yes. Anyway,
I tell my kids that, they think, well, what? Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. What? BBC One football and not Sky. Thank you so much for joining us, Peter. Thanks to everyone for joining us on our early start. Tomorrow night will probably be about more 8:00. We'll be back then. Big thank you to Peter. Thank you for joining us. And as he said, always support the team. We have to. We got a massive match on Thursday night. We'll discuss tomorrow night. We'll see you all tomorrow night. Thank you to my sister from another mister. Good night, Peter. Good night, squaddies. Always Arsenal.
Bye all.